Hi, today we're taking a look at Metal Man Reloaded, which is a new release for the ZX Spectrum. Now, just before we get started, this game is quite impressive, and there's been a few naysayers thinking that this can only run on emulation. Now, let me just point out, this footage here is taken directly from my Spectrum 128K Plus. I've run the footage through a DVD recorder, so it's not emulated in any way whatsoever. This is a genuine ZX Spectrum game. Now, this game is obviously influenced by the original Robocop game on the ZX Spectrum, but there's a big difference. There is lots of colour, unlike the Robocop game, which was drawn in monochrome graphics. Very well done, but this is very impressive. Obviously there's colour clash, but if you're playing this on a CRT TV especially, it looks really impressive. Won't get too involved with the story. It's a bit, well, it's a bit dodgy to be honest, but the game itself is very impressive. As I said, it's obviously inspired by the Robocop game. The sprite has some very similar animation, the legs especially, but the colour of it, it's just, I think it looks really amazing. There's some lovely parallax effects going on there with the clouds. You can turn that off actually if you so wish, but yeah, it's just a great looking game and very playable, very hard, but you know, anyone who's into retro games and are fond of Spectrums, I would say give this a try, even if it is just on an emulator. So yep, this is the first level, and to be honest, I've not got past this level yet. It's very hard. You've got to go around collecting parts of the microchip whilst blasting lots of different types of enemies. It seems to be inspired by the Robocop vs Terminator game as well. It's got that feeling with the old SNES and Mega Drive game. But yeah, very impressive indeed. So there's one of the microchips. Let's go back up. Unfortunately, there's no 128K in-game music, which is a shame. These are just all 48K beeper effects. I think it could have done with some in-game music. But yeah, I'm really impressed by this game. I know I sound like I'm just repeating myself, but yeah, these days a lot of the Spectrum games that are being released, they're very good, but they're more puzzly platform games, and it makes a change, I think, to have, you know, just a nice shooter that's not just spaceships. It's something a little bit more involved. There's obviously a lot of time and love gone into this game. I do believe it's been in the making for quite a while. There was a version released a few years back, and this was entered into a competition of late 2013, and it was one of the winners. All the games that were entered into this competition that took place, it was either in Russia or Poland, because, you know, those countries were very fond of their ZX Spectrums. Anyway, it came very high up in the competition. So yeah, this is an interesting part. You can ride on this vehicle, very much unlike Robocop. So nice effects here. As I go into the tunnel, the background fades to black. Shoot this bad guy, and there's another part to collect of the circuit board. Like I say, I've not managed to get off of this level yet. There we go, part of the chip found. So yeah, it's got this story running, you know, you get these pop-ups. Bad guy keeps having a pop at you, saying, do you think you're cool, and you make me sick. It's all a bit cringy, to be honest. I'm not particularly a fan of the storyline, but the actual game itself, very playable. The parallax effects in this. Like I say, I've had a few people I've shown this who've not believed this has been running on a standard ZX Spectrum. I can assure you this runs on a standard 128K Plus machine I've not tried it in 48k mode. I think it is 1 to 8k only. I wouldn't be surprised with all the stuff that's going on. Click the MIDI kit. Some lovely explosions. A little bit of colour clash, but that's to be expected. I think the author of this game has worked very well getting around the problems of the attribute clash on the ZX Spectrum. Very tough game though. Those walker things can only, the taller ones can only be hit while you're standing up, and as soon as you do stand up, he starts firing at you. I think this game would have made a pretty good follow-up to the original RoboCop. You know, if it had used the RoboCop sprite and storyline, the actual engine, you know, it would have made a good RoboCop 2 game. I was never a fan of RoboCop 2, the follow-up on the ZX Spectrum, and on most of the computers and consoles at the time. And even the arcade game, which was more of a scrolling beat 'em up really compared to the first game. You know, the ZX Spectrum RoboCop game is one of my all-time favourites, and unfortunately the sequel, despite it probably looking a bit better, had nice animation, it didn't play half as well. They tried to add, well, it wasn't as arcadey as the original. You know, the original was an out-and-out shoot 'em up with different sections. You had the photo ID and, you know, the rape scene, which worked really well. But the sequel just, it didn't flow half as well as the original. Right, I appear to be a little bit lost, and I'm going backwards and forwards here, so I'm probably going to leave it here, guys. But yeah, this is Metal Man Reloaded for the ZX Spectrum, a 2013 release, certainly worth checking out.